Good morning. Welcome back to Back Alley Bonsai. My name is Michael. It is a lovely day here in Los Angeles, California. It is a chilly, freezing cold 60 degrees, which if anybody's familiar with Los Angeles, that basically means that I will soon die. I'm not sure I'm going to make it. We take our little French Bulldog mix out for walks in the morning, and he insists that it is too cold for dogs to survive. So he wants to come back inside right away. Today, what I'm going to be working on is this Juniper Procumbens Nana. This is sort of your classic shopping mall type bonsai. You'll find these at kiosks and hardware stores, and you'll find them at basically everywhere. People buy them, they give them to their bosses or to their secretaries, and then they sit on their desks, and then no one bothers to water them or give them enough sunlight, and then they die. And I bought this I don't know how long ago, probably 3 years ago. Spur of the moment, thought, oh, you know what, I'm getting into this bonsai stuff, I may as well buy one that's kind of already there. And it was in a much smaller pot. This pot's actually a little bit too big for it, but I want to make sure I've got lots of moisture retention because it is LA, and during the summer it does get brutally hot. Easily into the triple digits. Where I was living before, it would get into 115, 120 during the summer times, and the humidity levels would drop down to the single digits. So it was pretty intense, and so I was real big on using these deep pots. They're a little oversized with plenty of organic material to make sure that they survive. So that is kind of the story of this tree, and I've never really liked it very much. Obviously, it's not really a tree. It's a juniper bush. It's a low, common ornamental plant. You find them everywhere. And this one, again, is doing real good. It's pushing out lots of nice new growth on it. But there's lots of things on it that I've never really liked. When I bought it, it was designed in this kind of like, stereotype wind-swept look where it was kind of bushy over here and didn't have much going on in this direction, and then they just had this one long swept out branch that actually went all the way originally, kind of came out, I'm trying to show you guys what this looked like, came out like this, and then this top part was leaning way over like that, and it never really looked very good. I'm going to bring you guys into a close-up and show you some of the problems with it. Bring the camera in a lot closer so you can see what I see when I look at this tree as being kind of a problematic little bonsai. So we'll do that here. Okay, so this gives you a little bit of a better look at the tree itself, and give you an idea of what we're looking at here. It's a little bunchy, so there are a couple of things that I'm not like a hardcore bonsai purist or anything like that. I like my trees to look a little natural, a little rough around the edges. I want them to look like you would find in nature to a certain degree. There's a few that I have that are highly stylized, but I don't necessarily go in for all of the usual sort of traditional bonsai stuff because I think that that's appropriate for Japanese folks, but there's no reason why Americans can't have their own bonsai style. And I like a kind of rugged looking tree. I don't like one that looks like it's a fantasy tree. I want it to look more or less like something you might find in nature. An idealized version of it, but sort of let it do what it's going to do. So I'm going to start off by showing you a couple of things. Now, number one, I'm going to show you how they actually, or one thing that you do want to have on a bonsai tree that I like a lot is being able to see a very clear and distinctive trunk line on it. And that's actually a bit of a problem. This has always been kind of the front of the tree, and the trunk, of course, is right here, and you can't see it thanks to this branch that is overgrown. So I need to do something about that in order to reveal that trunk. Another thing you can clearly see is the fact that these branches, so we have our main trunk line that goes up and twists around, and what they did is they just made there was originally a center trunk on this thing, and you can see a little bit of the scar still there. There we go, there's our scar. And what they did was they just kind of grew this thing up, and then they clipped off this center bit, and that left these two side branches, and this forms what is commonly referred to as the handlebar. And it's not really a desirable look. Like if this went up more, it might not be much of a problem. Or if this went up more, it might not be much of a problem. But as it is right now, it's practically a horizontal handlebar branch. And I don't really like it very much. It tends to really be distracting on this particular tree. Like it's obvious that it's a handlebar branch. Sometimes it's okay. On this tree, I don't like it. The other thing is you want to be able to, like I said before, follow the trunk line all the way up the side of the tree. And you can't really do that because of this particular branch. There are some other angles that might make better fronts on it. Like, for example, we do have a trunk line that's going up on this side. So we could follow this up, but this crosses at a bit of an odd position and then back up again into here, which again, you can't see very well because it's all nice and obscured by some of these other branches. Like this branch right here gets in the way. This branch here gets in the way of seeing the center trunk. So that's a problem as well. And then the main branch then comes back down again and sweeps across, which I actually kind of like. I think it looks cool. It's got kind of a cool dramatic effect to it. You can't really see it very well on that one, but you can see here, see it kind of coming down and across through there. Yeah, can't really get a good angle on that either. Anyway, as I clean this up, it'll get a little bit more obvious, I hope. The other thing is that it doesn't have a very good root base. So if you look at the roots on this thing, I'll zoom in here, you can see it's got this very dramatic lean to it, and there's almost no roots under here. There's basically nothing. There's nothing really anchoring this tree in place. It's not very solid. It's got all of its roots on the one side. And I like this bit here. I think this looks really cool, really characterful. I think this looks really, really strong. But unfortunately, the rest of it just doesn't. And I'm going to need at some point to figure out a way to encourage some root growth under here. And I may just need to plant it deeper and put in some rooting hormone and kind of hope for the best on it, and see what all I've got. I probably have got a whole bunch of really strong roots on here. One thing I do want to check really quick, because it is the right time of the year for it, I do want to check the roots on it and see what the rooting looks like, see if it's overbound. I don't think it's gonna be, judging by the size of the overall plant, but I'm gonna grab my root rake and see if I can pick this guy out of here without doing too much damage and just get a look at what's going on with the roots. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, good. And I'm back just in time for a neighbor to decide now's the time to do some chainsaw work. Now, excuse me, I'm going to drink some coffee because it is 60 and I may die. Oh, it's the stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and start working my way around the outside of this pot. I'm just trying to loosen this up a little bit. It doesn't feel super root bound, so that's all a good sign. There we go. That looks like it's pretty well freed up, I think. So let's see if I can give it a tug and get it out. Nope, that is not going to work. Let me tip it out and see what I get. Ooh, does not want to come out. All right, well, let's keep working at it. Let's keep leveraging it free. There we go. There we go. Now it's coming out. And let's take a look at our roots. And yeah, as I expected, you can kind of see there, not much in the way of root growth, not root bound. I'm not going to do any major repotting on this tree today. I'm going to leave it in the pot, so that's good. That means it's healthy, it likes what it's doing. The fact that it's shooting out new green buds, all of that is positive stuff. I don't want to disrupt that part of the cycle. I just want to make some styling decisions for this tree today. So Oh, by the way, I should have said this sooner, guys. As always, if this is the kind of content you want to see, if you want to see more of my bonsai videos, please make sure you hit the subscribe button in the bottom right corner of your screen. Hit the little bell if you want to know when I do new videos. Hit the like button on the videos. Tell your friends. Share them around. That helps me out a ton. You know, I just like working on these things and like showing you guys what I'm doing. So I have some choices as far as styling goes on this tree. Now that I've shown you all the things I don't like, I need to try and figure out what I do like about it. So as I've said, I don't like this branch that comes across right here. And I got a couple of things I can do with it. I can wire it. I can cut it away. I can change the overall style of the tree. Like I can plan ahead for that. I'm not planning on changing the styling of the tree too much, but I can play around with it a bit and see what I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and throw some of my tools on the ground because I'm a professional. But I'm going to take a little bit of old broken pot here, and I'm just going to tip the tree up a little bit and see how that looks, if that changes the overall appearance enough for me that I'm happier with it. I'm trying to imagine what does this thing look like from my angle. Sorry, you can't really see it at the angle that it's at right now. Actually, I can probably just break off a piece. There we go. This is a cheap old styrofoam pot here. There we go. That works out okay. And I can kind of tip it up a bit here and get an idea what it would look like from other angles. So that's a possibility. If I clean this up a bit, I can get a little bit of a better idea of the trunk line. This branch still hangs down a little low. I could do kind of a semi-cascade thing with it. So I could theoretically take and just do one of these numbers with it and really have this branch come way down beyond the side of the pot. So let's see if I can get an idea for you guys. So if I did something like this, I could do that with it and then have this branch moved downward more. You would need a different pot in the long run for that. I'm not sure that's really a great style considering that this branch here already goes down. I'd have to make some major adjustments to like what I was doing with it. Like this would have to come up. This branch here would have to come up in order to do that. I'm not sure I really want to do that. I kind of like the tree, I think, as it is. I think it's mostly just this one branch that's really problematic on it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start just by making some branch removals and just kind of see what I get. So the first one, like I said, is just this one branch that just gets in the way of the front of the trunk. So I'm just going to take that off first. I'm just going to go in with my clippers and I'm going to find the center of the root or the base of the branch and just cut it off and see what kind of change that makes to it. So right away, that's already looking quite a bit better. And then I've got this other branch that is growing in a weird spot. It comes right at the viewer. It obscures this trunk line as it does curve upwards. Can't really move it out of the way without obscuring the trunk further. And what's more, it's in what we call a crotch, which is where it's a part of the trunk that moves, has an elbow joint like this, and then there's a branch coming out of the middle of it, which doesn't look great as a general rule. So I'm gonna actually just take it off. And I've taken it off before and let it regrow just to see what it did. And there we go, that is that. It's got a couple of other little branches growing out of there as well. And I may need to come in here with my bigger clippers. There we go. So there we go. That cleans that up pretty well, I think. And now I can kind of better see what's going on here. Take off a couple of other small ones that are obscuring my trunk a bit. There we go. There we go. So that looks actually, we'll get that out of the way too. There we go. So now we get a much better view of this trunk as it comes up and around and then rises upwards. So that actually, I think, is a big improvement all by itself. So we have this nice base, and it flares out a little bit, and then it comes up into a much stronger design just by that alone. Still have this problem with this handlebar branch, but I think we can keep working on it. If it comes down to it, I may just take it off completely, because I do have this other branch that is practically parallel coming in the back. You can kind of see them a little bit here. Let me turn it so you can view them a bit. I have this branch here, which comes off of this main trunk, and it's running parallel. And stylistically, it looks a little bit better. It's a little higher off the ground. These ones are all sitting kind of low, and there's not much I can do about them. You know, they sit low. The plant is about as high out of the pot as I can get it as it currently exists. So I'm not sure that I have too many good options for it. I'm just going to try and clip off a few more edges and just see what I get here, because I don't really need anything coming directly at the audience there. That's a little better. A little bit less busy visually. But again, I'm not entirely sure I need it at all. Yeah, I'm still not happy with any of that, so I'm going to take that off as well. And that certainly is a very dramatic change on the overall appearance of the tree. So, but now we have a few other things. We have some growth that's going straight up. You can see that right there. It's interfering with this other branch above it. So I'm going to get rid of that. Upwards growth, any growth that's growing backwards towards the tree or growing down. Like, so you can see right here, this little nub right here is growing back towards the trunk. It's not really a normal way to grow. The tree is trying to kind of fill in this big empty space right here. So that is normal, but I don't like the visuals of it. It obscures what's going on. Same thing here, another upward branch growing. And that all looks pretty good. It's getting a little out of control. Let's take this off as well. Just kind of trying to minimize a lot of this. See what I get. So this is growing back in on itself. I'm going to take that off. So there's that. All right. So that's already starting to look a little bit more like a tree. And the main difference between a tree and a bush, honestly, is whether or not you can see the trunk. Trees, you can see trunks. Bushes are blobs. A couple of other things I'm going to do here that I don't like. I'm going to go ahead and take off some of these bottom facing bits. I'm less worried about some of these ones growing back on themselves, but I don't really want anything growing straight down or straight up. You know, it's not really useful. It's not, it tends to crowd things a bit visually. It's not always healthy for the tree. So, got some other really tight growth in here. This is growing at a crotch. I'll take that out. That as well. And all this, which is growing upwards. Interfering with my apex a little bit. This I don't really need, is growing the wrong direction, so I'm just going to take that off. This right here is interfering with my apex branch, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off as well. I really just want to get the one. There we go. So that will get this branch to grow more in this general direction. I appear to have gotten juniper in my coffee. We'll find out how that works out. Delicious. All right, let's go right ahead and take a look at the back. You don't want to neglect the back of the tree either. You know, you want the tree to look good from all sides. You don't want it to look good from just the one. That's looking a little busy. There's a bunch of stuff going on in this little junction right here. So I'm bring this in here so you can see it. There's just a ton of stuff going on in here, and it's just kind of crowded. It's like a lot of stuff competing with each other. So I'm going to take out most of it. It's all pretty fresh growth. I don't necessarily need most of it. And kind of what I have going on here is I have my trunk line growing up. I've got a branch growing out this way. I've got another branch growing out this way, and then I got this branch growing out this way. So I've got a whole lot going on. Probably more than I really need. And I have two sets of branches kind of covering the same space. I got this one in the back and this one in the front. So I'm going to get rid of this one. Let the one in the front do the work. Get rid of this low-hanging branch. Get rid of a couple more of these uppers. I want to try and encourage this to grow a little bit more horizontally. And I got a few more little nubbins and stuff growing in crotches. Trying to open it up, get a little bit more light to some of these branches that I do want to keep. I don't really need these. All right, so now I'm at another kind of a crossing point here on the back. We have, so I can get a good angle to show you what I'm looking at here. These two branches are competing with each other for light. So we have this top branch and this bottom branch, and the question is, what do I do about them? I could wire them. I could remove one. Get the whole thing to fan out a little bit better. I'm not sure I need this one, this lower one, because these ones are already kind of going in this direction. I'm not sure having this one branch out so early and go in that direction is really what I want. So I'm going to take it off completely. And now this section gets its own bit of light, and this section gets its own bit of light. Similarly over here, although there's not a whole lot of options on this one. I can probably get rid of this, and that will help to open a lot of this up. This is all getting crowded. And again, I think the problem is still this bottom branch. So I'm gonna do, I wonder what it's gonna look like if I just take it off. If I just take off the bottom branch, what do I got? Not a lot. But I don't got a lot even if it's there. It's pretty bald. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take it off altogether. I'm just going to cut it off. It's competing visually with a branch I like better. It is too low. There we go. And that's that. And that does sort of deal with the handlebar branch problem as well. So there we go. And I think that already looks a lot more like a tree. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of quick styling prunes on it here. It's already got a pretty good triangular shape on it. So I'm just going to kind of go through. This is not really the best way to go about pruning one of these junipers. If you do this, you will wind up with browning, but I'm not entering this thing into a show or anything. I'm just tidying it up a bit. Make sure it looks okay from above. Yeah, it actually looks okay. I'm gonna remove a couple more of these ones that are growing in weird directions. A couple more of these that are just going straight uppity. You can kind of see where it's been growing against a wall. That's why it wants to grow straight up like that. I don't really want any of these straight up ones. Straight up ones, straight up ones. That one's kind of growing in a nice horizontal direction. This one's growing on a weird spot. That one's okay. Get rid of the upward buds. Again, more upward growth I don't really need or want at this stage. I want this to all kind of fan out a bit. It's getting a little strong. All right. Yeah. There we go. And I may make some adjustments to this little stub in the future, but there you go. There's my trimmed up and restyled Juniper Procumbens Nana. Took quite a bit off of it, but it's going to recover nicely, I think. And these things back bud pretty well, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if I saw some growth coming in here in the near future. But there you go. I think it looks nice from the front again. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Once again, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Let your friends know if you want to keep up to date on what's going on with my bonsai trees. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.